Hello and welcome to Business Today. I am Siddharth Zarabi and with me, Nara Lokesh, the Minister for Information Technology and HRD in the government of Andhra Pradesh. Nara, welcome to Business Today at the Business Today India Today studios here at Davos at the World Economic Forum. I know it's been a busy couple of days for you here and more. And very clearly, in some ways, I get the sense that you and Mr. Naidu, with all the meetings and bilaterals that you've been having, are busy rebranding Andhra Pradesh. Mr. Naidu is the original Davos man, starting with 1995. How has it been so far?
I think it's been amazing. This Davos is about relaunching Andhra Pradesh. People are looking forward to it, and we are very clear that we mean business and we're ready to do business all over again. So there's been renewed interest. In fact, I'm quite surprised. We have more interest than we had between 14 and 19. So it's exciting times for Andhra Pradesh and for India.
One of the things that we have noticed in foreign investors, particularly post-COVID, is relooking at India and states like Andhra Pradesh and others from a de-risking perspective, having backup in India and of course from the back office of the world, now the GCC capital of the world. What do you think is driving the maximum amount of investor interest, for example, for your state and overall investing into India right now?
I think there are three specific things. First is talent and the quality of talent that we have in India, nowhere in the world. And the numbers that we have is, no country can compete with us. That's one. Two, it's been interesting times where states are competing amongst each other to attract investments. And it's no longer about ease of doing business, it's about speed of doing business. And three is the government's India's focus, and Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji's focus on India and Make in India. And this is really sort of centralized everyone to come focus and make India their home for manufacturing.
When Mr. Naidu in his first innings in government basically was called the IT man, a minister who had the ability to make PowerPoint presentations. And today, Telangana and Andhra continue to have that reputation. But when you look forward in this stint, what's your vision for brand Andhra Pradesh? What would you like it to be known? Just as an IT hub or much more beyond that?
No, I think, Andhra Pradesh today has a unique opportunity. The Honorable Prime Minister's vision of Vikasit Bharat, we created our own vision where Andhra Pradesh should be a $2.4 trillion economy by 2047. We'll have one of the highest per capita income in India, being now one among the lowest in South India. So this means I need to drive all sectors. So it's not going to be one sector. It's going to be renewable energy, green hydrogen, aqua, agri, defense, drone, IT, medical devices, manufacturing. The whole 9 yards. Pharma. So we are here to open up all the sectors, be frank with investors in terms of what we can offer as a state, but actually deliver on our promise to them.
What are investors been telling you here at Davos? I know you had multiple meetings. What can you share with us in terms of what's really clicking here?
Speed of doing business.
Okay.
I think if you look at the last 7 months, the pace at which we've been able to close projects, ground projects, no other state has been able to do that. And this was the first 7 months of the new government coming in. Now imagine if we had 3 years, our pace would be very different. So today what's happening is the scale and just the sheer amount that's getting invested is substantive. It's like 10,000 crore, 15,000 crore. If the business plan shifts by 6 months, the entire case goes for a toss. The interest rates kill the business. So that's where speed of doing business is important, and that's where governments like Andhra Pradesh can play a very, very important role.
Alongside speed of doing business, it's also about issues like availability of land, law and order, energy, local transport, and of course skilled employees. When you sort of hard sell Andhra Pradesh, the new Swarna Andhra Pradesh as you call it, what is that point that clicks with investors the most amongst what you have to offer?
No, we have ready available assets in terms of land, power, water, road. But the most important thing is amazing talent. And we're asking industry to come work with us. So I'm the HRD minister, so that's my Bharat hat. Where I'm saying you come create the curriculum. You tell us what we need. You certify it and we'll deliver on it. So in government universities, in government ITIs, polytechnics, we are now working with the industry very closely. And I think that can be a competitive edge for Andhra Pradesh.
Now, Lokesh, your father took decisions, historic decisions, which have led to iconic institutions. For example, the ISB in Telangana. Amaravati is something that we've all been looking forward to emerging into one of India's most youngest and finest capitals. What's the update there in terms of the new Amaravati? Because work stalled because of various political reasons, but looking ahead, how is it going to shape up?
Well, Government of India has been very kind. They have given a special grant, special assistance to Andhra Pradesh to restart Amaravati works, because it not only involves a capital, but it involves the farmers who gave the land. So everyone is into that entire ecosystem. So I think it's very important that they did it, and they did do it. It's been an amazing experience. And now all the works are going to start in Feb, and we're giving ourselves 3 years to complete all the major works.
And is the blueprint the same as what it was earlier, or what tweaks have been made? Because obviously you must now be preparing for a future expansion.
It's the same blueprint because it was the best blueprint that India has ever created. So we don't need to touch what's perfect.
That's a great answer. I want to come to some of the aspects that not just Andhra Pradesh, but we saw a phase of resistance to land acquisition and concerns that farmers and other landowners in rural India were getting short-charged. For attracting investors, land is a crucial development. Anything different that your state is doing to ensure that industry and the rural community from whom you take the land, there aren't problems between them?
That's the land pooling model. Why can't we make the landowners part of the success story? Why can't they reap the benefits of all the development that's happening? So Amaravati was the exact concept of that, because there's not even 1 acre of government land. Farmers came together, gave the land, and they got developed land back. And government got some land, and then rest went for infrastructure. This model can work. This is the way for India. It requires a little bit of political will and a leadership with credibility like Mr. Naidu. But we've shown the way for India. And I believe that's the model that India should really use.
Now, Lokesh, when I talk to investors with respect to some other states, the cost of land has become an issue. Is that something that happens in Andhra Pradesh also, or have you created this model which doesn't cause problems for investors?
No, cost of land continues to be a challenge for a country like India because of a sheer population. But with infrastructure, you can open up pieces of land for development. That's one. 2, our focus has also been that end of the day, we have to be competitive as a state. So we have to have low cost of energy, low cost of power, and sustainable, low cost of power, energy, and low cost of land. So businesses not only should survive but thrive in Andhra Pradesh, and that's our approach. So that's where as a government we are willing to take a hit to attract investments that will create substantial jobs. Because one of our promise as NDA in Andhra Pradesh is to create 20 lakh jobs in 5 years. And when we go back, people are going to question how many of those jobs have you created.
Absolutely, and that accountability exists. Ease of doing business is something that everybody talks about, but when we see political shifts happening, including the kind that we saw in Andhra Pradesh, there is perhaps a temptation for the newcomers to go and target or go after the previous administration or projects where there are question marks. There doesn't seem to be any vendetta politics in Andhra Pradesh. Why is that? It's a good thing, but why is that not happening?
See, fundamentally, if we just focus on vendetta politics, it's not just brand of a state, it's brand of the nation that's going to take a hit. Let's understand this, because if you look at all the mega projects, the entire renewable energy projects, they're all funded by sovereign funds. And if you simply renege on PPAs or just go after them on a wild allegation, it's going to create substantive problem. Saying that if someone did really break the law and there was someone who's shortchanged, then we will take action. But it's not about just reversing every decision that the previous administration has taken. And there are costs associated with reversing these decisions. So an informed decision making is what is required, keeping in mind not only the brand of the state, but brand of our country.
And does that enthuse and provide confidence to foreign investors? Because in India, investors don't just deal with the central government, they deal with multiple state governments. Has that received good feedback from the people you meet, investors that you meet?
I mean, if you've seen the kind of investments that we've been able to close in the last 7 months, I think that's a testimony that, Andhra Pradesh is here, Mr. Naidu's government is here and will stay a considerable amount of time to ensure that all these projects are grounded and they're not only that they're not only surviving but they're actually thriving.
Because of your two very crucial and important portfolios for the youth of the state, I want to ask you your thoughts about where AI is headed in terms of generative AI and its impact, especially on the workforce in India. There are lots of people who say that it will augment and not replace. There are some people who say that certain jobs will go completely out of fashion. In a pressure situation where you have to create jobs, what's your own sense about the impact that AI will have?
See, every industrial transformation has created more jobs than in the past. Every industrial revolution. I think AI is that. And as a HRD minister, for me, it's important to look at my curriculum, look at my skills of my children, and look at how I'm going to upgrade. So it's very simple. Either we reform, we adopt, or we will get replaced. The two things that will happen. So for me, I think it's important to reform, adopt technology, welcome it, and use it for greater efficiencies. So in Andhra Pradesh, starting next academic year, we're going to actually make AI part of our curriculum. We're going to introduce it even for farmers, old age people, because I think there's so much to learn, there's so much of exposure. And using technology, per capita income can actually double. So we are looking at these kind of projects to really help us.
Nara Lokesh, in my student days, I had this moment of realization that many of my batchmates who were Telugus ended up overseas. And, I think there are many Andhra Pradeshes and Telanganas all over the world, particularly the United States of America. In terms of the contribution that the NRI Telugu community has to the tech world, are you seeing any ghar wapsi happening, people wanting to collaborate, cooperate with your government because they have trust on Mr. Naidu and they believe that things will change on the ground?
I mean, both are happening. I mean, you do see a wave of people who really want to migrate, go to different parts of the world, given the opportunities that they are able to find. And vice versa, people who are already there want to come back and invest in Andhra Pradesh and in India because they believe India is the future. I mean, to be honest, next 25 years is India's 25 years. And as politicians, if we don't do it right, it's going to be a demographic dividend that we have really wiled it away. So it's going to be very, very important that we remain focused and balance these two.
And balance is something that is very critical. I want to end this conversation by getting you to tell our viewers about the new sort of fiscal compact between the states and the center. You're part of the NDA. But I just want to understand this debate because it's been happening in the South. There are some voices that say that southern states are being discriminated against. They don't get enough central funding and they are having to provide more resources for other underdeveloped parts of India. This divide, almost north-south divide, how do you see that? Does that bother you? Do you agree with those people in the South who say, a better deal needs to be provided to southern India?
I don't think it's a divide, it's a debate.
Okay, that's a good way to put it.
I think that's very, very important for a country like India. It's a fact that for whatever South India contributes, it gets less. But saying that, it's important that we also take care of our brothers who need our hand holding because they have their own challenges. See, some states have the peculiar challenges. So I think we are one nation first and then states. Saying that, I think even Government of India should come up with unique propositions that can enable fast-growing states to grow faster. It's not just about state policies. It could be infrastructure. It could be connecting all the economic capitals of South to North. So I think there's some very interesting ways that we can do, or maybe even looking at some specific areas of focus for specific states, given the talent, the manpower, and the resources available there. So I think if we can go deeper and create specializations and then states feed off each other in terms of energy and focus, I think there's something that we can really achieve together and make a stronger nation.
In a neighboring state, pride around the language, the native language seems to have transcended into a situation where some muted whispers from investors or those who don't speak the language, Kannada language, are matters of concern. Andhra, Telangana, Telugu people, I think, are not parochial when it comes to language. What would you say to investors who might face concerns on this when it comes to your state and basically telling them, come invest here, we provide you a much better environment.
See, erstwhile Andhra Pradesh and now Telangana, Andhra Pradesh have always provided an amazing environment for investors to come and invest. Because we have very entrepreneurial mindset of people, we are very welcoming. And then look at Telugus, they have settled all over the world. I mean, on a Monday afternoon, we did a diaspora event with our chief minister and we had 700 people. On a Monday afternoon.
At Zurich?
At Zurich, 700 people in attendance. And it was a 2.5 hour program.
And so, this is the uniqueness. I have to interrupt you here because when we landed at Zurich, I saw this huge gathering, fairly large number, 60, 70 people who were dressed in Maharashtrian finery, waiting to welcome Devendra Fadnavis. So, this is the strength of India.
Absolutely, at a global level.
At the global level.
So, I think, see, as Telugu community, we are very unique. We have the ability to adapt, find opportunities. And as a state and as a government, we are welcoming. See, we are going to compete with other states, no questions about it. And we're going to compete with speed of doing business. But my benchmark is Singapore. My benchmark is what UAE does. The speed at which they're able to execute things. And that's what we really want to replicate and beat them. And that's where I think as a nation, we can really leapfrog.
One final point. Is there any possibility of Singapore coming back and joining hands with regard to Amaravati development? You know, there was this initiative some time back and that kind of petered out.
No, that's a conversation I think both government of Andhra Pradesh under the leadership of Mr. Naidu and then Singapore government will have to have. At this juncture, we haven't had a conversation yet, but we're looking forward to having a conversation.
But it's very clear that your government, the state government, has a lot of work to do on restoring confidence of investors, of the public at large, that the government of Andhra Pradesh, Mr. Naidu, you, Nara Lokesh and others mean business and, like you said, speed of doing business. And since it's speed, it's time to wrap up this conversation, Nara Lokesh. Thank you very much for your time with us. That was a slice of views from Davos from Nara Lokesh in terms of the overall business and economic environment in the state of Andhra Pradesh. As they call it, Swarna Andhra Pradesh is the goal. I thank him once again for our time with us and you, the viewer, for tuning in. With that, it's a wrap. We'll see you again. Until then, goodbye.